about it. It gives me a short spark, but it's long-term mentors like the Jeff Dars and the Anita Overworkmans that I have an ongoing relationship with that truly inspired me in the long term, and that's what we need. So it's a combination of both. So I would focus on local speakers who can continue to be involved and engage in relationships with them, but also it's always nice to have those big national speakers or more well recognized. Think of them as the big billboard. That's what your advertising piece is going to be. But it's local mentors that are really going to have to hold that longevity and maintain that relationship.
And someone I relate to it, and I think it's your point, but can tell their story well. I mean, there are some people that they have to relate to high schoolers too, and they have a tendency to kind of just tune out and just sit there. So someone that can also kind of keep them listening would be key.
Not to volunteer everybody that's a past alumni, but utilize us also where you can. I know that, you know, we get together and we talk a lot about, we are absolutely growing to be active at the school level, and I think that sometimes that relationship where the students can tie in somebody that did it 10 years ago, they've obviously moved on, they went to college, they have a career, but we're still very actively involved in YEK, and those relationships that we made then are so key to where we are now, as well as, you know, just being able to maybe relate on a different level to the students in the classroom. Absolutely.
What part of Missouri? Oh yeah, definitely.
Obviously, you know, what was each of your business plans, if you remember back in? I know your two, but I don't think we've mentioned yours.
Mine was a speakers bureau, which I've not touched, but just going through the whole process itself helped me in regards to getting the financials, doing all the research, which applied then to whatever my next passion was, you know, in college and out of college. So just going through the motions definitely helped.
You said yours was insurance. Mine was a tutoring company, and again, I haven't obviously done that myself. In college I did tutor for the K-State Athletic Department, but not on my own out there. But I think just the thinking process of, you know, you have a good idea, you know, run with it, just going through all of those steps to realize really what's all involved. And I think that will come in handy in the future. I know I work for Coke now, but
Mine was selling fishing equipment. I had a retail idea of basically selling new and used fishing equipment. It was as simple as that, and I actually did it for a while because of the YK program. I started up my own business and was, for a 16-year-old, very successful in my own idea as far as a couple $100 was a big deal to me to be able to make something like that. As I got to college and I got busy with other things and realized that the sustainability of that business wasn't quite on par with continuing it as I was getting older. The idea and the concept, maybe. But YK was absolutely the reason I got that started.
I'll tell a little bit more about it later on, but I videotaped weddings, and I started a tutoring company with some help from YK staff.
How well did your business plan do?
And then it's a two-part question. First of all, I want to know what year in school you took YK, because it correlates with the problem that I'm having. I'm getting a lot more younger kids in. I'm getting almost all sophomores now, and they don't have much of a background. What can I do to bring that to that level for them? Do you have any ideas? And Paul, I know you've been in my class, so you know what I'm talking about.
I guess personally, I was a sophomore in the program. I don't know that I had a little bit of a background just because my dad had his own business, so I had basic concepts, not much knowledge, but just the basic concept. I definitely know that's a bit of a problem with some of them. With having two young students, and that failure to relate maybe to the concepts that are being taught. I was going to say this before. I think for me, the biggest thing was, you know, doing the market day. Maybe doing that earlier on. I don't know when you do it in the curriculum now, but that market day is so vital because the students get excited about, and the fact that you're giving them a loan to go out and it's the pure basics of the entrepreneurship process to buy something and turn a profit and sell it to their peers. I think that gets them excited about it, and it also they can start to relate how entrepreneurship works, how owning your own business works, the capitalism, the financial side of it. I think, again, speakers, I think just, I don't know that it makes a big difference, but I know when I would talk to some of the students in the classroom when I was BPA, just telling them that, you know, I was right there, and I think somebody else said it, just being able to relate to them and say, you know, we were here, you know, and explain to them how we got from that classroom to where we are now. And it is, if you want to do it, it's not that difficult. It's not like a pie in the sky goal to have. I think that's just the biggest thing, is that relationship and relating it to the day-to-day life for them, because they sit in classrooms all the time and they have to memorize everything and have to solve math problems. And a lot of times, I mean, that's the biggest thing as a kid. You know, you always said, it's like, when am I ever going to use this? I don't understand why I'm doing it. So make sure that they're not saying that in your class. Make sure that they understand, and that's by relating. You know, talk to them about what's going on. The oil spill. How does that relate to entrepreneurship? How can an entrepreneur get involved in something like that? How do politics relate to owning your own business and entrepreneurship, or how working for another company, and how it's truly an entrepreneurial way to think. It's not so much you have to own your own business. That way they don't feel like, you know, if they don't start that business, they don't hit that home run, but at least let them understand that they can work for another company and they can think entrepreneurially. They don't have to just leave your class ready to go and start their business, and if they don't do that, they're not successful, because they are very successful just by going through the program.
I think with your young students, I struggle with this, being a business owner. We have 36 employees, and there are times when you're like, gosh, why don't you understand this? This is so simple. And I'm sure you guys feel that way at times. I'm sure Jeff felt that way with me and with my classmates. But you truly have to relate to how it impacts their daily life. So, for example, we have a finance 101 class for all of our store managers that they have to take. And we sit down and okay, Jane Doe, because when we sit back and they'll ask us questions like, why don't you just load me up with toilet paper and paper towels and all this inventory so I can keep in my back room so I don't have to do inventory every month? It's wasting my time. And you can't get that through to them that, hey, you can't just have money sitting on the shelves, because toilet paper doesn't make money. It's sitting there. It's an inventory cost, and it has carrying cost that comes with it. And so we really sit down and break it down for them so they can be more well-rounded in the sense of what it takes to run a store, to run a business. So we say, okay, Jane Doe, how much do you make per month? And we write down their gross pay. We say, okay, well, how much is your rent? And we write down their rent. How much do you pay utilities, etc. And then we break it down, and then it's like, well, here's your net profit. This is what you're making every month after you pay all your bills and gross sales. So then we relate it, so their gross pay now becomes gross revenue for the business, for your store. And so we put that number there, we put their rent, their utilities, etc. And then now we go back to them. It's like, okay, when you're at home, do you buy 2 months worth of toilet paper and store it in your bathroom? Like, no. Well, then why should we do it at our store? Because it's, you know, and it's real life applications like that. It seems really simple talking to me, you and I now, but some people just don't get it the way that we do. Because you guys are taught as professionals to understand this. It's, you know, it took me years of education and running and you know, operating failed businesses and successful businesses for me to understand that, you know, some things just don't work that way. And it's really just breaking it down to impact them of how can we apply this to their lives so they can get a better understanding of it. And it sounds silly, but that example of toilet paper in their stores made them understand why it's important that we don't have a lot of extra inventory and we do everything with just-in-time inventory in our retail stores. You know, because to them it was a convenience issue. Oh, I got to do inventory every month or every other week, or whatever the case might be. But when we break it down to them, like, okay, that makes sense. I wouldn't load up my apartment or my home with unnecessary things until I needed it. So why would I do that as a business?
What year were you when you took YK?
I was a senior, but I took DECA, which is a marketing class, my sophomore year. So obviously I had some advantages, you know, had some other experiences that led up to it. But for the younger ones, obviously, I think applying it to their real life applications will help them get a better understanding of it. And I'd also agree with Paul as well. Do something fun as soon as you can out the gate. I mean, don't do it too early where they don't appreciate the experience. But if you get them excited a month into the classroom, it's going to be much easier the rest of the semester or year. The class is semester or year long? Year long. So it's going to be much easier for them to be engaged and be excited about something versus you teach, and then like 2/3 of the way there, you do something exciting. And kind of by that time, they really realized it, and they really don't have that much time to appreciate and absorb everything that you guys are taking in.
It's our